Would be like taking a selfie the wrong, you know.
Yeah.
You get nothing on it.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City Council meeting tonight. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Mayor Patricelli,
Present.
Councilwoman Diamond,
Present.
Councilman Dawes. Here.
And I ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Let's see, the first order of business, I'll ask for a reading of the minutes of the previous meeting.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of the January 25th meeting.
Second motion.
Motion made and second. Call the roll, please.
Councilman Dawes. In favor. Councilwoman Diamond.
In favor.
Mayor Patricelli.
In favor. Tonight, I have the privilege of presenting the State of the City address to everyone tonight. So I hope you're all prepared for it. It's something I've been working on for quite a while, but as soon as I get it over, I can get it over with for you, and we can move on. So good evening. I'd like to welcome all our distinguished City Council members, along with the residents of City Watervliet, and anyone else that may be watching tonight. It's a privilege to serve as mayor for another 4 years. In 2020, when I was elected mayor for my first term, my number one priority was to move the city into a stable fiscal condition. We're proud of achieving that goal, and although new goals are ahead of us in the second term, we will continue to keep the financial stability at the top priority. I need to make something, though, very clear. Leading our city is not a one-man show. I may be the one delivering this presentation, but I could not accomplish any of the achievements without our dedicated staff. The Council and I discuss all issues, laws, and regulations that are needed to put together here in place to make our city grow and prosper. Our General Manager, Joe Lasivita, our department heads, and their teams work closely together to implement and ensure its success. We may not always agree on every solution or priority, but we all agree what we think is best for the city, and we strive to have that unit to make that happen. I'm extremely proud of the progress we have made for the residents here in the city. Under the supervision of our water department, the foreman Dave Dressel, we continue to work on several ongoing projects. The filtration plant improvements were made, just like the fence around the plant, the installation of the generator, new heating system, and this year we will work on the remaining improvements at the plant, such as a new floccuator, mechanicals, and an epoxy liner for the basins. Please don't ask me to explain that, I can't. Also, last year, we went out to bid for a new computer system that monitors the filtration plant and all its instruments, flows, and processed water. As a result of these bids, we secured a contract and placed an order for the new system. We're aiming to have the new system installed this summer. New flashboards were installed at the reservoir after many years of needing major repairs from the floating debris and ice that accumulates on the boards. The boards were desperately in need of replacement and now will provide a higher water level at the reservoir to generate more electricity at the hydro plant, thus producing more revenue. A major accomplishment was the separation and elimination of 2 of the combined stormwater sanitary sewer lines. This project took place on 12th Street, 8th Avenue, Avenue A, 6th Street this past summer. We now have the stormwater going directly to the river and sewage going directly to the county sewer treatment plant, instead of mixing together during high rain levels and going into the river. We have 3 more to complete, and we are currently out the design phase for construction this year. The City of Watervliet Water Department has until October 2024 to conduct an inventory of all service lines, what they call them laterals, that are connected to each individual property. To complete this task, the water department employees need only to gain access to the property's basements. This process typically takes about 10 minutes and does not require anything from the homeowners except to be able to provide access to the basements. We will continue to seek funding to assist homeowners in the replacements of any lead lines found in their property. Under our street repaving program, we chose to replace a main water line on First Street before the road was paved in cooperation with the town of Colony. This, of course, will provide better and more stable water service to our residents in that area and avoid the possibility of digging up the newly paved road for a possible water break. Our Department of Public Works consists of a highway and sanitation crew, and they work hand in hand with our water department. We continue to monitor their needs so that they can perform the tasks required. We aim to improve the department's structure to provide a higher level of service, and we hope to accomplish this task in the next few months. 3 years ago, our street paving program was developed and reviewed by our engineers to identify the streets that needed the highest priority for repaving. We requested our engineer to review the program again to assess if that priorities for each street still is appropriate. Over the past few years, we have paved more streets than any other previous administration and have taken steps to make necessary repairs to obtain our goal to provide the best possible roadways for our residents and visitors. Our trash pickup process has improved, but has a long way to go to change the old ways of keeping our city clean. We plan on working on educating our residents on how trash should be handled and ensure greater oversight for all our DPW employees. We have implemented new policies as to how our trash will be picked up, and we continue to work on this program to move forward. We are hoping that an increase in education and appropriate enforcement will help reduce the problems we still face with trash. We will work with landlords and tenants to keep our city presentable. We have developed and implemented a new non-owner trash policy. Any owner of a property that does not live at the property must provide a tipper can for each unit. We have other ideas like working on sharing the cost of recycling tippers instead of the exposed bins that allow items to be blown all around. We continue to push the Capital District Transportation Committee to help ease the large traffic congestion on 25th Street and repave and rebuild the entire street from city line to city line. This grant is expected to be about $5 million. We'll be working with our engineers to put this task on a fast track. The plan I outlined in the last State of the City address involved DPW painting crosswalks around the city, and we also planned on starting an alley cleanup program. Unfortunately, the goal was not accomplished in the past year, but we're targeting it again as a high priority again for this year. This will be a long-term project, but we intend to establish the program to help improve both the appearance and functionality of all our alleys. Another major change this year will be to relocate the stoplight signal on 6th Avenue and 19th Street to 5th Avenue. The traffic patterns changed significantly due to relocation of Price Chopper. Previously, 6th Avenue made sense with the location of St. Patrick's School being located there at that intersection. A reminder to all residents that we also offer bulk item pickups programs throughout the year to our residents. This program runs from usually April to December with approximately 30 spots available per month. Last year we pretty much sold out for every month. We have plans to increase the number of pickups to help the residents with this service. We will continue our free pickup item drop-off event on March 22nd at Hudson Shores Park. In a couple of months, we also hope to come up with an electronic pickup date, disposal date. Public safety. It was with pride and gratitude that I commend our dedicated police department for their outstanding service over the past year. Our city has been the beneficiary of their steady commitment to ensuring the safety and well-being of our community. Throughout the challenges faced in the past year, our police department has exemplified professionalism, courage, and a deep sense of duty. Their tireless efforts have not only maintained public safety, but has fostered a sense of security and unity among our residents. The department's proactive approach to the community policing has forged strong bonds between law enforcement and the neighborhoods that they serve. I want to express my heartfelt appreciation to each officer, their diligent sacrifice they made for here and by their families. Your commitment has not gone unnoticed, and your positive impact on our city is considerable. Together, we will continue to build a safer, more vibrant Watervliet for all of us. The police department will continue their incentives for the community outreach through programs like Coffee with the Cop and Night Out event, which the residents seem to really enjoy. We will continue to be approachable and develop the community-minded approach to policing. The school resource officer was reinstalled this year in partnership with the Watervliet School District Administration. To date, due to staffing, the SRO program I think is temporarily paused, but will continue once staffing is able to accommodate with the manpower needed to be on the street and insurance to cover both. Currently, we do have a full police staff membership, which includes some in the academy and some out on injury. Please offer each officer patience as they respond to your needs. Many are working lengthy shifts to provide coverage for those on the force that are unable to serve currently. It is important to note that the times have changed. We can't compare current times to the 50s or the 60s, or fault any past or current administration for these changes. All we can do is take what we have and move forward with open-minded thinking. I agree that our laws and how our children are raised is not what it used to be across the entire nation. The respect for authority has decreased in the home, the schools, toward police enforcing these laws. We will continue to assist in every way possible to work with the schools, police, and code enforcement, but it not to be changed overnight. It will improve over time. For the 7th year in a row, we have organized another child safety seat program to ensure our residents with child safety seats that they have are correctly installed. This program has been invaluable in that 99% of the seats that are inspected are incorrectly installed or out of compliance. This event will once again be held in the parking lot of the elementary school in cooperation with the Albany County Sheriffs this coming June. The city continues to work with area agencies to look for new innovative ways to help residents dealing with domestic violence and mental health issues. We are working again with the Albany County Mental Health Department, having our officers trained in recognizing these issues and using a caseworker assigned with Catholic Charities to help these individuals avoid courts or even jail. A new program that we have agreed to several months ago was to help prevent drivers from passing stopped school buses with their red lights on. We have joined with the school district to work with a vendor called Bus Patrol, and they will install cameras on all city, school, and private buses used by the district to record and send violation notices with a fee for passing a stopped school bus. This is simply a safety precaution measure for students that can be injured or killed because of a senseless violation. Everybody, of course, have heard the most recent incident that occurred over in Rensselaer County, where the driver drove right past a stopped school bus and had nearly missed a child from serious injury or death. Police Chief Joseph Centeni has prepared a 2023 summary report on his department in detail, and I'll attach that later to this report that'll be able to be viewed later. Our fire department continues to handle daily calls and provide both a professional and high level of service. 2 new firefighters were hired back in March of 2023 and will begin paramedic school this coming February. In September, Chief Tom Garrett and the City of Watervliet Fire Department announced that the new public access automated external defibrillator, AEDs, and the Stop the Bleed program. They purchased 8 of them throughout the city. In addition, as part of this program, the Watervliet Fire Department will be offering the city's 93 full-time employees a CPR and a bleeding control training at no cost. Last year, we acquired some new vehicles that were badly needed. We purchased 2 ambulances, 1 used one and 1 new one. In addition, we purchased a used pumper truck, and we also ordered a new truck that will take 3 years from the order to be delivered. I applaud the fire department and our administration for recognizing the needs of the department to continue to provide top quality assistance and safety for its residents. According to Chief Garrett, the Watervliet Fire Department responded to 2,900 calls for service in 2023. Our general manager, code enforcement officials continue to strengthen our procedures and policies of the department and work closely with the police department to be able to see violations that may not be seen from outside the buildings. This has allowed the department to take control of several homes that were determined to have severe code violations or offenses and presented a major health and safety risk to residents. Some of the statistics from the building department that were given to me, there were 710 violations issued, 244 permits were issued, commercial and fire inspections were 26, and some RUCs, the home inspections were 419. They've been busy. Under Parks and Recreation, we continue to improve our parks, both in the equipment upgrades and appearance, and still have so much work on some of the much-needed repairs and upgrades to our pool house roof. We continue to look at ways to make our facilities something that we can be proud of. Last year, we put for sale the pool passes online. We sold 1,722 passes, unlike in previous years prior to the water park, where about 200 were sold. We also added some amenities such as vending machines, more picnic tables, and umbrellas. Additional improvements are planned to make this a more attractive place alternative to higher paid parks. Attempting to have something for everyone is so important for a sense of community. We installed 6 pickleball courts at the Dome in 2022 and several around the city on the existing basketball courts. This allows our older population and young to enjoy a spot right here in their hometown, or visitors to come in, enjoy and see what they have in the great community we have to offer. Nets for the pickleball courts were donated by the Watervliet Charitable Foundation. They cost about $400 a piece. The city is very fortunate to have so many willing individuals to help purchase these amenities. This spot has provided a place to play and to make sure it's kept affordable. The fees we receive from the use of pickleball will go back to supplement, not replace, any recreational improvements to our parks. This will ensure that our parks are not only properly maintained, but enhanced. We'll again have 2 car shows in 2024. One will be held at Hudson Shore Park in May 11th, and the other will be at in the summer at the Gazebo Park in Port Schuyler. The car shows brought in hundreds of visitors to showcase what Watervliet has to offer, and hopefully a chance for our businesses to profit from these events. Through the efforts of the volunteer group, the committee was put together to bring back the Summer Concept Series. The 2023 series was a huge success, which kicked off with the refrigerators, a local favorite. And stay tuned for the lineup as we plan to expand this year's success as well. The entire road parking area was repaved, and a walkway will be repaved in Hudson Shores Park this spring, along with other improvements. The general manager also did an awesome job in having the overgrowth cut along the banks so you can actually view the river from the park. As you know, Watervliet has roots going back to the Industrial Revolution. Our great-grandfathers worked on foundries along the Erie Canal that made this region what it is today. Many worked at steel mills, or at the arsenal, or textile industry. This is why we're trying to save some of what we put us on the map by restoring and showcasing the Manili bells throughout the city. Now, 3 new bells are being placed around the city, all funded by the generosity of the Watervliet Charitable Foundation, so that there'll always be a reminder of what what made this community so great. Due to current ongoing activities and construction at the park, we decided to hold off on the fire and ice this year, but hope to bring back it next year. We plan on installing some healthy recreational units for children to play and enjoy at the park. We have bids going out soon, and hopefully the construction will begin in the spring. In addition, cameras were added to provide greater sense of security and comfort to the park. It's been 5 years since the purge broke loose, and we lost an asset to not only to the park, but to the entire city. A high priority for our general manager this year is to execute plans to have in place a restaurant to be constructed at the park to replace the barge. Our intention to make the park operational almost year-round with a place where residents and visitors can enjoy. The city needs an events coordinator and events for these events, but has been shelved from past administration, for the past administration, so that we can allocate more of our tax dollars to go in needed areas. But time is running short to address that issue. Financials. A measure of our achievements in many ways is a true sign of success when you can run a business without a deficit, of course. First, as councilman and now as mayor, we have significant increases in all three of our operating fund balances, including bringing our sewer funds back from the negative back into the black. But equally as significant were increases in our expenses, especially in our health insurances and other insurances. I'm asking the general manager to provide an update, possibly at the next council meeting, on an overall cash debit position for our city, so that we can, as it has ended our 2023, even though it be unaudited. Although not funded, we will continue to improve and submit our annual application for a DRI, Downtown Revitalization Initiative. The $10 million funding associated with this grant will be a game changer for Watervliet. We will continue to gather ideas and suggestions from residents, businesses, and consultants to assist in looking for the future of the city. This grant will transform the 19th Street corridor into an attractive gateway to our community. Currently, we're discussing ways to strengthen our staffing to help ensure that we can file applications that will be favorable to the state and help develop our business district. My office is once again organizing Restaurant Week in Watervliet. The 4th annual Restaurant Week will be held the week of February 25th. You can look at social media and the city's website for participants and menus. This event promotes city restaurants to show off their menu, not only to city residents, but residents from the nearby communities as well. The goal of the administration here is always to assist in promotion of our local businesses. The city is no different than any homeowner that you live at. Your property is very important and must be taken care of. The key, of course, is preventive maintenance, something that was probably previously considered not as important. In 2023, we received over $600,000 in grants from Assemblyman John McDonald and Senator Neil Breslow that enabled us to update City Hall with new heating system, new windows, soffit, and fascia. I'm happy to report the work is complete. While City Hall was getting a facelift, we turned our attention to the work needed at the Dutch Reformed Church, or the Church Museum. With the $300,000 Community Development Block Grant Facilities Program, we were able to replace the roof, install a heating system along the handicapped front entrance, an electric chairlift to go in a few steps once inside the building, upgrade the electrical system, and install security cameras both in and outside the building. The building is now being cleaned and getting ready now for its primary purpose as a multi-purpose community center. We intend to hold meetings there, possibly even concerts, to help promote programs we have here in the city. We're intending to have a ribbon cutting in May of this year. For 2024, we have hopes to seek grants for the installation of an elevator here at City Hall, something that's been on the docket for probably 40 years. I would like to equip the senior center here with an emergency generator and upgrade our existing generator, which currently covers the police, it only covers the police department, to include all of City Hall as well. The goal is to be able to have these facilities in the event of a power outage or some catastrophic event. So if residents need a cooling or a warming station, they can be ready. One thing we learned from COVID was that we can never be prepared to address every emergency, but we must need to be prepared. I want to thank our tree committee for an invaluable asset here to the city's development over the past few years. The committee has worked to plant over 300 trees, non-invasive trees, and worked to remove several of those that pose imminent threats to the community. As you can see, we've been able to accomplish so much in the first term, and we're continuing to look for the smartest, most efficient, economical ways to improve our services, reduce our energy costs, and make Watervliet a better place for all to live. We are in constant communication with our residents and implement any issues that we have through implement any of the issues we have, and we promote them through our email distribution, our social media, and whenever possible, I personally videotape as many city council meetings as we can so that residents can view them from the home. I believe education as awareness is vital to everyone that wants to feel that they are informed and a part of the community. We will not be beaten down by keyboard warriors, but always be looking for suggestive input. We encourage those to provide practical solutions, and we need to look at a big picture. In talking with residents throughout the city, the energy and overall view is extremely positive, and this is what motivates our enthusiasm to continue to see our city thrive and succeed. We have received numerous donations from civic groups, businesses, and from residents who have moved away, still take pride in their hometown. This alone speaks volumes for our success and the trust they have in us. So in closing, I would like to close my State of the City address by thanking you for being engaged in this community. I am blessed to have been born here, raised here, as well as my wife, and raised my family in the city, and humbled that you had the faith in me to do this job. I would also still like to call on many of the younger residents to step up and begin their service to the city. By joining a board or committee or volunteering, become part of many of our organizations. We need you to participate to help ensure the city of Watervliet continues to grow and prosper. I am proud of the work we have accomplished in this past year, and I believe it shows that the City Council and I are in full support of the needs of our departments to assist them in providing the best possible services to our residents. Without hesitation, I am proud to say that Watervliet is continuing to move forward. As I stated with my first election in office, I will always be accessible to all the residents. I will be accountable and the decisions that we make. So I thank you for listening to me, and I wish you all a good evening. Thank you again. Sorry, no popcorn or next time. This out of the way. All right. Thank you. We'll move into next order of business. We'll go into reports of officers and committees.
Thank you, Mayor. Give you a briefing of what the last couple of weeks were in the General Manager's office and throughout the city of Watervliet. We do have a bulk pickup tomorrow, February 16th. I believe at this time we had 21 or 22. I know Dave had a final count today, but those will be picked up tomorrow. This is the first one we've scheduled on a February because it's always iffy with the weather, but over the last 3 years we're able to get one in, and tomorrow we will do that February 16th. We had a meeting with National Grid to go over their 2024 plan for gas line repairs throughout the city, and we're teaming up with the paving plan that we have typically for the city of Watervliet. This year we're going to be paving 19th Street all the way from 12th Avenue to 2nd. We'll also be doing epoxy striping throughout that area as well. 5th Avenue, where the light is going to be relocated. We're going from 15th Street north to 23rd. And then 16th Street, we're going to be going from Broadway all the way to 8th Avenue. So that's going to be the paving plan, and we'll look to put that out to bid probably in early March, and numbers will come back to the council after that time. We had a facility review committee, which consists of Sergeant Milano, and Katie, Dave Wheatley, and Paul. Dave was Paul's last name. Kowalski. We did assessment of the facilities throughout the city of Watervliet and kind of looked at the needs that some of the buildings are going to be getting in the future. That then piggybacked to what you're going to be working on tonight in Resolution 16, which is the workplace violence policy. Last meeting, we heard from County Clerk Hidley, and he asked that we produce a resolution for the award for the scanning of documents. Unfortunately, no resolution has been made thus far at the county, so we're holding off on doing anything until we get the county's resolution that goes to the legislature, and then we'll mirror the language that's in that. Councilwoman Diamond and Mayor Patricelli and I, along with the engineer, went out and met on the 5th Street traffic light relocation. We did have, or I had some meetings with stakeholders, a couple of businesses, and our Department of Public Works crews. And we went over some significant changes that we believe will be important for the rerouting of the 4th Street, or 4th Avenue plans that we currently have, and we'll be sending it to the council to review once all those have been plotted. CSO designs for 2024 have come in. As the mayor said in his speech this evening, State of the City, there are 3 left to go. And one of the things that we did include within the design this year is the 21st Street drainage problem that we have. So the one over by Broadway that we continue to get calls about flooding that has no drainage at all. We're able to connect that one to that last repair over in that area. As you all know, and the main, or the many blasts that went out on Facebook, there was a water break on the Arsenal, which was pretty significant. We did have, it was a longer day, 3.5 days without water, but we did get water reports back that everything came back negative for the reports on the 2 that were required by Albany County. I have those here, but that was a large job. It wasn't the fault of the city. Crews that were working on a project on the Watervliet Arsenal did unfortunately hit one of the valves, and that's how the break came. We had a kickoff meeting the other day with the dock company and our engineers. We now have final design for the welding that needs to go on the spuds that are in the river, and that'll be going out to bid next week. So hopefully we can get that going and continue towards getting the boat company here in early spring. And lastly, Centrica closed out the lighting project. We did a drive around last Wednesday evening. We did locate 1 light that was out. There was a gentleman that supplied us with 4 lights that were questioned, all of which are on private property, and we're confirming that with National Grid, and we'll get those answers shortly.
Did that include the parks, Joe?
Yes, yes it did. Yeah, so I talked with Bob Chevy,
Right.
giving him the list of the 4 plus the ones in the parks, just to make sure they're all going to be, considered changeover if they have to, the parking list. But everything has been done.
Okay, good.
Just have a quick question back to the facilities.
Yeah.
Repairs or whatever is being done to any of the facilities. Does that include the water filtration plant? Like the
We did every facility that the city owns. We did the Civic Center. I think Bill Sheehy did the Civic Center. We did this facility today, Dave and I. The committee did City Hall, the filtration plant, DPW, Fire Department. So,
Okay, I'm just, like the work on the filtration plant, the bricks on the west side of the building that are kind of...
that's all part of the, if you remember, that's all part of the larger project that they're doing.
Yes, is
Yes.
that? Okay.
Yeah, that's all part of that $6 million project that we have there. I think it was picked up because I know our Sergeant Milano was on that roof with us, walking through it as well, but we did notice that's all going to be taken care of. Yes.
Okay.
the first.
I knew that that was part of the project, I just wasn't sure when that might be, so, okay.
Yeah, I think the skinning of the building, I don't believe that it went through final design if we're going to re-brick it or skin it with something else. We have the wide enough ledge from the foundation of those, that's where the water bays are,
Mhm.
you know, where the flocculators are within
Yes.
those. And we have more than enough room to put brick back. It's a question of, do we get the right brick that we had that could match it? But I don't believe final design has been completed as to how we're going to skin that.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? Old business?
Your Honor, there is no old business on this evening's agenda.
New business?
The first order of new business is a public hearing. This is for the 2020 Community Development Block Grant Housing Rehabilitation.
All right, we'll have a public hearing, and Steve's going to make a presentation. So I'll open up the public hearing and ask Steve to start it off.
All right. Good evening. So this is the second public hearing for the CDBG Housing Rehabilitation Grant. The citizen participation requirements for CDBG grant programs are governed by HUD and 24 CFR 570.486. This is the second public hearing being held during this grant process to provide information on the grant progress and to provide an update on the administration of the grant. The current CDBG grant project being administered at this time is 1210 HR 302-21, housing rehab. This housing program is for owner-occupied 1- and 2-family homes for low and moderate homeowners. The total budget is $500,000. The current status, we have 15 homes that are in the rehab progress, or the program total. We have 7 completed projects, 8 are left to be completed. The average cost per home is $24,432.85. And the project is planned to be completed by April 2024. On the next page, I have just some examples of work that we've done so far with this funding. The first one is a major foundation repair for a home. New Bilco doors, poured concrete and cinder blocks. Next page after that is just some other masonry work we've done. Rebuilt entrances to homes. We've done several roofs throughout the city, a lot of windows, and even an asbestos abatement on one house. The rehab project will be completed successfully. It's anticipated that the city of Watervliet will apply for another grant in 2024.
Do we want to go right into the other public hearing and open up at the same time, or close this one?
Well, is there any public comment?
Yeah, we just go public comment.
So if anybody has any questions regarding the housing rehab grant, you may now ask the question of Steve. We just ask that you state your name and address for the record.
Anyone? Steve, I have a question. I was just doing the calculation. We had a $500,000, but you said about $27,000, $28,000 was an average?
Yeah, so the 500,000 is the total grant.
Right.
And then 90,000 is for administration of the grant alone, and then another deduction from that would be environmental testing on home, like for lead paint, asbestos, and things like that.
Goes quick. All right. Does anyone else have any questions of Steve? Okay, well, thank you. Thank you, we'll close that public hearing. All right, and we'll move it now to the next public hearing, please, Dave.
The next public hearing is the 2020 Community Development Block Grant, Public Facilities.
Do you want to walk through that, or you want me to take care of it? Okay, I'll take care of it.
I didn't bring.
Okay, no problem. So this was the public facilities grant that we received. That is for the community center. Again, it's under CFR 24 of 570 is the regulations that we followed. The project number under the community development block grant is 1210 PF 302-21. It was the repair of the former vacant property known as 1501 First Avenue. It was the former Dutch Reformed Church. The rehab that went on in that building, of course, were code repairs, ADA compliancy. We had a new roof. We had a handicap lift, an ADA specified ramp, and then electrical and fire suppression was added, or fire alarms, I should say, was added throughout the entire building, as well as LED lighting for all the lights that are in the seating area or the assembly area of that former church. Everything has been completed. We were under a deadline this year to complete. The state of New York had given significant monies over the years, and this year it had to become a turnkey operation. In the slides that you have, it shows some of the work that we did, which was the ADA compliant ramp, external. You'll see pictures of the lighting, and again, everything that we did in that facility. I'm excited to get this up and running. I think it'll be a great venue for concerts, as you spoke about in your State of the City, but I think we could also have our monthly meetings for this council, as well as planning and zoning as well. And that is the public hearing for the CDBG public facilities.
Just for the record, the paper that's going around is just a record of who is here for the public hearings, as it is required for the grants. So that's why we're asking for your name and address.
Okay. I'll open up the public hearing. Does anyone have any questions or thoughts or comments on this particular project? I want to also, while we're here, thank Ellen Hughes, because she's been trying to take care of some of the cleanup over at the church. So thank you, Ellen.
It looks good over there. I was over there last week. It's coming along. It looks good. Very nice job.
Did he help at all?
No, I just had my kid. I went in and checked it out.
All right. If there's no other comments or thoughts on the public hearing, we'll close that and we'll move into the next one.
The next public hearing is in regards to local law number 1 for 2024. This is to amend chapter 168-1.2.
Okay.
Oh, that's this one, this is the other.
So we had originally scheduled this public hearing to discuss some potential changes to the garbage law. And as we went through the process of drafting some of the language, it became clear that we need to have a larger conversation and make sure that we're not making these changes piecemeal. So I think what we'd like to do is schedule a meeting with the council over the next couple of weeks, get the council's thoughts on all the changes or all potential changes, so that when we do have the actual public hearing and we do draft the document, it will be a document that it really addresses all the issues that the council might have, as opposed to coming back month after month after month to address those issues.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So I think we can, let's close the hearing, and then we'll just reschedule it.
Okay. All right, we'll close the public hearing for local law number 1. All right, we'll move in the next order of business.
The next order of business is resolution number 15 for 2024. This is a resolution amending an agreement between the City of Watervliet and Gomez and Sullivan Engineering for services required to apply for Department of Energy grant funding.
I'll make a motion on resolution 15.
And I will second it.
This is, as you may remember, when we, back in October of last year, Resolution 55 for 2023, the council approved Gomez and Sullivan as the engineer to seek funding in the Energy Policy Act of 2005. And that was for some of the upcoming improvements that we need to the reservoir. It's going to be for our water quality improvements, the eel passage facility, and the flashboard replacements. We did the replacement of the flashboard. We're looking for some enhancements in the future. So they wrote 3 grants to the federal government under the Department of Energy. The initial proposal was $14,700. Based on the complexities of the grants that we had, this had gone over by now to $9,400. So Gomez spent in time and material to write these grants $24,100. So Resolution 15 for 2024 is seeking an additional $9,400 that would actually be for those grants that were written. And that'll finalize everything that was needed for the grants.
When did they let you know that?
Back in January 10th of 2024.
Any questions?
No.
We have to pay.
That portion went out of the barn already.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Roll call, please.
Councilman Dawes?
In favor.
Councilwoman Diamond?
Favor?
Mayor Patricelli?
In favor.
The next order of business is resolution number 16 for 2024. This is a resolution adopting a workplace violence policy for the City of Watervliet.
Mayor, I will make a motion that we move on resolution number 16 for 2024.
And I will second that motion.
As the general manager alluded to during his presentation earlier, the city is required to adopt a workplace violence prevention policy. So part of the inspection and review of the properties was to make sure that we're making the city's properties as safe for the employees and the public as possible. So based upon that review of the various buildings and input by the various unions, the proposed workplace violence prevention program and policy is in front of you. It is required by law, so we would ask that the council vote in favor of adopting this policy. It would then be posted in City Hall and all other city buildings as well as the city website.
No. Take one pen more up.
Is this also one of the training that will be online and we'll have to,
Yeah, you guys presented that tonight.
What is
Yeah,
this?
yesterday. Yeah, we had samples.
I didn't get something.
It was in
It
your
came in
email.
package.
I didn't get anything from the city yesterday. So I got. Listen with the spam.
Okay. You have any questions?
no, I just asked if this was going to be on the part of the online training, the ongoing online training programs and so forth, and I guess after.
There's definitely going to be training. I'm not sure whether the determination was made as to whether it's going to be online or not, but training is required each year.
Okay.
That training. Is that all been completed?
No, the workplace violence training will be rolled out tomorrow.
Okay. Any other questions?
With the spam.
Yeah. Call the roll.
Councilman Dawes?
In favor.
Councilwoman Diamond?
Favor?
Mayor Patricelli?
In favor.
Your Honor, that-
That's my policy.
Your Honor, that concludes the new business for this evening's agenda.
All right.
Okay.
I'll move into appropriations and accounting.
I have nothing at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. That's good. All right. Then we'll move into public comment.
May I ask a question before the public comment period? I'm not really sure if this is something I can ask or whatever. Is it possible to explain the situation with Humana? Can I ask that? Or is that, I have heard some things that I don't exactly know. Or is that
You're
not
on the
good?
council, you can ask whatever you want.
Okay. Then is it possible to explain what is, a brief explanation of
Who
Flip
wants
coin,
to,
who wants
yeah,
to, who wants to
yeah.
take it?
Just
a layman's terms of
just
what's
put
going
your
on? I mean,
mic on, please.
Okay.
Well, it seemed like you wanted it. In the mic.
There are 4 providers currently that have issued notices to Humana members that they are in negotiation with Humana and may not come to terms with them and may no longer be an in-network provider. Humana, what's nice about them is their in-network benefits are the same as the out-of-network benefits. I'm not sure how in-depth you want to go with this. So currently, the one that is closest to expiring is Community Care Physicians, and that is coming to term 3/13, I believe. 3/15 of 2024. At that time, Humana members can still go to the CCP provider. However, they would have to pay upfront for the cost of the visit, and then the doctor will assist the member in requesting reimbursement from Humana. I think that.
So Humana is provided to people who are on Medicare. So it's a Medicare Advantage or supplement plan. So it kind of covers the 20% that the 80% of Medicare does not cover. So the city has provided it for...
Since 2020, I believe.
And it is provided to retirees that are eligible for coverage. And it's a cost-saving plan compared to providing the full CDPHP plan or something like that. But there's never a guarantee that any particular physician will be a participant in the program. So just like if you had Empire Blue Shield, which is a big provider around here, right? If your doctor doesn't participate, but that's the coverage that the city provides, then you have some decisions to make. It's the same sort of thing here. There may be some doctors who do not participate in Humana, but there was never a guarantee that your particular doctor will be participating in the coverage that the city provides. And that's really, I think, the issue.
One of the things you will also hear is that all of the community care physicians, people who are using community care physicians, because their cutoff date is March 15th, by law, they were all sent notices that they will no longer be accepting those patients from Humana as of March 15th. They
But
had to-
negotiations are still
Negotiations are still ongoing, but they had to send those letters out by law. Humana also had to send letters out to their enrollees stating that as of March 15th, community care physicians will no longer be accepting their patients, but they can see them out of network. So that, I know that's caused some angst and some confusion as well.
So if a retiree is on Humana, he get a letter because it's by law, but he's still covered.
So the difference between as I understand it, between the in-network and the out-network. In-network, you go to the doctor, and basically maybe there's a copay or something like that, but there's not a great cost. And the doctor gets paid directly from Humana and or Medicare. Right? In this scenario, there's going to be an out-of-pocket cost. So now it's going to be out-of-network, there may be an out-of-pocket cost that's larger that the participant needs to lay out, but ultimately would get back in. Forms to fill out, extra hoops to jump through without a doubt. But in the end, we're being told that the coverage will ultimately be the same.
So the coverage will be the same. Okay, so nobody's in threat of health insurance, then, right?
Well, nobody was ever going to lose their health insurance.
Or you would like
The real issue is
capability
whether
to
you're...
go to that doctor.
Right.
Is there a possibility of that?
No, they're going to be treated, from what we're being told, they're going to be treated as an out-of-network. But with the humanity, out-of-network benefit and the in-network benefit is the same, right? So the cost will ultimately be the same. The difference is there's some hoops to jump through to make sure that you're getting reimbursed.
And what I've been advised, Chris, is that Community Care Physicians has a policy that if you are an out-of-network patient, you have to pay up front, which is the reason why they're telling Humana patients, you have to pay up front. They're not willing to change that policy.
And if they're still negotiating, you might remember approximately 6 months ago, all the St. Peter's related health systems were advising that they may not be continuing to participate in CDPHP, right? And that obviously threw people in an uproar as well. It's a similar situation. Now, in that case, they ended up reaching an agreement with CDPHP and everything was fine. But it happens. I think we need to find out ultimately whether the agreement is not cut between this physicians group and Humana. But we're told, again, that the benefits will be the same. Just, you might have to lay out the money first.
And you're saying that the negotiations is still ongoing?
That's what we're being told.
Because I was kind of told that had stopped.
No, that wasn't what we were told today. There were 4 providers, 3 of which have reached an agreement on how to do it, and CCP is still continuing negotiations with Humana. That was as of 9 o'clock this morning, right?
Well, I think all 4 of them are still in negotiations.
Still in negotiation, but 4.
But
3 of the 4 have pushed their date for
Yeah.
their.
One has reached an agreement, they're just waiting to sign a contract. The other 2 pushed their dates from March to May, and then CCP is still in March.
Yeah.
So I think the one person I talked to got the letter.
So my understanding is the regulations require that if there's not a contract within a certain number of days of when another contract, the next contract, within a certain number of days of when the contract expires, everyone is required to give these notices.
Okay.
So
I
it's
think
not
what happened-
necessarily a done deal.
No, I think what happened in this case where the person who called me got the letter and thinking that, okay, negotiations have stopped, I'm no longer, not knowing that there's a law that it's.
Right, but it still might be no law.
No, I know.
We don't know that.
But we don't know.
Right.
We were advised this morning that they were still negotiating.
Okay, thank you.
All right? Anything else? All right. We're going to go into the public comment period now. So I can ask Dave to go ahead with the public comment.
At this time, the mayor and the council have authorized a public comment period. If you wish to address the council, we ask that you please step forward and state your name and your address for the record, and you will have 2 minutes with which to address or to speak. Sorry.
My name's Holly Collette, and I'm here to represent my mother, who is a retiree. It was interesting listening to your comments. It is my understanding that there's much more than 4 people negotiating, 4 entities negotiating. Albany Medical has put everyone on notice. I sent that to you, Mr. Patricelli. I have sent everyone every notice that we've had. This is just this week alone, my 94-year-old mother has received 8 notices that she is no longer eligible to go to these physicians. I was in Community Health Care's office this past Tuesday with my mother. I was clearly told that they are not negotiating. And that was from their heir apparent who's taking over the operation. They are not negotiating. In order for my mother to go back to community care, and I'll be more than happy to hand this over so that you can read it out loud, my mother must have the cost up front. It's right here. So in order for my mother to have any lab work done, to have a doctor's visit, we must pay it at the time. What we're calling out a network and an in-network is not what is happening. It is not happening that way. In fact, I was referred over to Carrie, if you remember, from Amana, who was supposed to be the answer to everything. I spoke with her and I talked with her. She assured me that out-of-network would be accepted by community care. It is not accepted by community care. It is here. It is in black and white. We have received it. We have experienced it. We have lived it. And I called around today, and I'm not sure what the for that they're negotiating for. I have a letter from Albany Medical that they are not participating. Community health care is not participating. If my mother needs an oncologist, there are no oncologists that are participating in this area. These letters are coming from the insurance company. And Councilman Dawes, I understand what you're saying, but you can read it. It is not, and they're not saying, community care is not saying, we don't want you as a patient, but you have to pay. You have to pay. My mother is scheduled to return to Dr. Wolf, who's a part of community care. We have to have the full cost of her labs when we walk in. Then we have to deal with the man. They will not even return your telephone calls. They will not. I've left 8 messages for Carrie to return my call. She has not returned my call. I called the number that was listed here and spoke with the person. Asked them to please provide me with the names of providers within this community that excuse me, maybe I could transfer my mother to. They gave me 2 names, 2 names only. And then one name was in Amsterdam. We are not talking about individuals that are in their 40s, in their 30s, in their 50s. And I understand what a contract means. There's a policy, here's a list. But when there's no providers, these are aged people. My mother's 94. She was a good employee. She worked with most everyone sitting here. This was a benefit that was expected. And I know I'm probably a little emotional at this point, but stand with your mother who's 94, who's had a physician for 40 years, and she turns to that doctor and says, what did I do wrong? Why can't I come back here? She didn't do anything wrong. This is failing this group of people. We get these letters, Mr. Mayor, every day. And out-of-pocket expenses? Do you have any idea what a CPC profile, how much it costs? Do you have any idea how much a routine x-ray costs? Do you have an idea how much a regular office visit costs? Be it complex, be it simple, be it a 15-minute, be it 30. Read what Community Healthcare sent us. I have to call and get an estimate, and I'm expected to pay it as a courtesy. They will go ahead and bill, but I'll be subject to whatever they decide to reimburse us. Now, I don't know about the rest of the people here, but how many people could go to their doctor's office and hand over $10,000 for a visit? I don't know many. These are our elderly. These are retirees that are 65 plus. A lot of these people probably haven't even read these notices. And my mother, you know, Mr. Mayor, you know my mother. Mr. Dawes, you know her. My mother would be here to advocate on her own, but she can't. She can't. That's where we're at now with somebody 94. And it is heart-wrenching to watch what this system is doing. This is not a good policy, folks. It is not. And, you know, we can sit and we can say, out of network, you can't even get a response from this company. I can show you my telephone logs. And originally when we sat down, it was a scare tactic. I don't believe it is. I don't believe when you take a place like Albany Medical, who pulls out and puts us all on notice, it is a trauma center. Where does my mother go? Where do the rest of the Watervliet retirees go? It's a trauma center. It's where heart surgery is done. It's where neurological deficits are addressed. We're not talking about just walking in and getting a little physical. We're not. I was provided buy them with 2 names only. I started on my own to take every single specialty, and I started to call throughout the community. I stopped after today, after I called 2 oncology groups, and they said, nope, and we're not negotiating with them. We're not. You go over to the oncology group, which is one of the major ones in the Capital District, the big sign is we're no longer participating. That doesn't sound like me, like people that are sitting negotiating. It doesn't. And Community Care told me directly, they are not negotiating. And if they were negotiating, why do I have 8 letters this week? That doesn't look to me to be in good faith.
Holly, we're trying to keep everybody to 2 minutes to get the whole thing, but if there's time at the end, we can have you come up, okay?
Anyone else?
So I might go a little over 2 minutes. I don't think it'll be as much as 5 minutes. If you just allow me to get my message across, I'd appreciate it. So good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. I stand here tonight as the PBA president, representing the patrolmen, sergeants, and lieutenant, which make up our police department. I want to address a long-lasting concern, that being the workplace of the police department. I found it to be appropriate to come speak briefly tonight to the council due to recent meetings that the city had with representatives from each union regarding city worksite reviews for workplace violence. We had a total of 2 meetings, the first meeting being general discussions and a walkthrough of City Hall, the water treatment plant, and Public Works. Time fell short on the city's end as we did not do a walkthrough of the fire department nor police department. A second meeting was held on February 2nd, which consisted of summarizing areas that need improvement for each department. Overall, I found the discussions to be beneficial and suggestions well received. As you may or may not be aware, some of the ideas, suggestions are relatively small scale items and others being larger scale projects. Out of all the suggestions and concerns that are in relation to the police department, we as a PBA feel that the overall workspace or lack thereof should be the city's highest priority. Our current police department is roughly 3,600 square feet. Study back in 2012, that being 12 years ago, found our facility to be inadequate and significantly below industry standards. The study suggested that our facility be closer to 8,500 square feet, more than double the current size. Again, that study was conducted 12 years ago. As a department, we have grown in responsibilities, specialized units, equipment, and regulations with the criminal justice reform. Absolutely no work has been done to increase the department's overall footprint, and I find this to be unacceptable. The police department currently has only 1 interview room. The interview room is adjacent to the front lobby, open to public view and public ears. The room has a large window open to the public along 15th Street, and only a wooden door separates the room and the general lobby. The conditions of this room are embarrassing. I will provide current photographs to each of you for viewing pleasure. The paint on the wall is peeling, the chairs have visible staining on the surfaces, and the room has an overall uninviting feeling to it as you walk in it. This room is utilized to conduct non-custodial interviews of witnesses and victims of crimes. Individuals having their worst days come into this room to report crimes, ranging from low-level criminal mischief, petty larceny complaints, to violent, sensitive crimes such as rape. I am embarrassed fielding complaints and interviews in this setting. The evidence technician processing storage room is an area with restricted access for evidence technicians and detectives. This area is essential to any functional police department this day and age. The area should be organized, stocked neatly with adequate supplies to have adequate, clean workspace available to process and package evidence in accordance with the rules and regulations and standards set forth by the Department of Criminal Justice Services. The current size of this evidence technician room is 7.5 feet by 8.5 feet. Currently, the only available space is essentially a closet space of the police department, which was converted for evidence work. When I am personally inside the room alone processing items of evidence, I feel cramped, anxious, and stressed. There are times that more than one member need to be inside this room to process multiple items of evidence together. Members are literally walking into each other, and there's no space to place the items of evidence, resulting in a lack of organization and efficiency. The evidence technicians and detectives deserve better than this. We are more than willing and able to fulfill the duties and responsibilities of evidence technician-related functions. We just ask to be provided an acceptable workspace. The lieutenant's office is currently housed in an old electrical closet. It is adjacent to the main entry door as you enter the secure area of the police department. I find this to be distracting to the lieutenant and membership. The space was originally designed as a closet, not an office. I find it to be unacceptable in the year 2024 to have a police lieutenant sitting in a closet. Our discovery coordinator is an essential element to our police force ever since the criminal justice reform. Prosecution of any criminal case rests on the hands of this position in more ways than I could describe. Our coordinator is currently working on a shared desk within the sergeant's office and is subject to distractions such as walking complaints in the lobby and discussions amongst members. Our coordinator deserves personal, adequate office space to work. We have recently added a civilian position within the department, being the domestic violence advocate. Our advocate was provided a small space adjacent to our one and only interview room and public lobby. Her office is in a non-secure area, which poses little to no physical protection for her safety. Our advocate has limited office space to conduct follow-up interviews and discussions with victims suffering from domestic violence. This office area poses identical concerns that our interview room does, as it is connected to the public lobby. We find that the placement of our advocate's office and the overall space provided to be concerning, especially that it relates to such a personal and sensitive area of law enforcement responsibilities. Besides constructing an entirely new facility, there are limited options as to how we can rectify and mediate some of these concerns. A design and proposal were drafted for consideration for the city to convert unused space on the third floor of City Hall. Multiple layout options were drafted for consideration. The hope was to relocate the chief of police, chief secretary, lieutenant's office, detective office, and one interview room to the third floor of City Hall. This relocation project will allow the current detective office to be renovated to an adequate evidence technician space, the chief's office to be renovated into a formal interview room and conference room. The lieutenant's office could be converted back into the discovery coordinator's room. This proposal would be minimal in cost expenditure rather than construct a new facility. Although this proposal is not ideal, it would tremendously impact the concerns that I have previously spoke about. When I brought up this idea at the recent worksite review meeting, I was met with noticeable reservations by the city in giving up unused space on the third floor of City Hall. As police officers, it is difficult for us to ask for help, as we're the ones lending the helping hand to others. We stand here tonight asking the City Council and Mayor for your help. The current condition and space of the police department is inadequate and no longer acceptable. The residents of the city deserve to know what is going on within the walls of their police department. We have been just getting by, getting the job done for too long. It's time to execute expanding our workspace and not just talk about it, as 12 years of talking is just too long. We thank you for your time and your consideration in this matter. We hope to see your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
May I approach?
Yeah.
Just a few photographs. I will turn the table over. Your viewing pleasure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Karen?
So I handed out some pictures earlier, and this is in reference.
Your name, ma'am?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Sherry, Sheri. My last name is Marion, M-A-R-I-O-N.
Can you speak up?
Yes,
And Sherry, I'm sorry, for the record, your address?
1013 23rd.
Thank you.
So I handed out packets when I came in. I am the property owner that is adjoining to the garage, now known as 7-Star Auto Repair. I purchased my home, known as the Flanagan's House, approximately 27 years ago. When I met the prior owner, Patricia Flanagan, she told me how they once owned the garage, and that it was a repair shop, and that her husband also fixed city vehicles. Shortly after the closing, I legally obtained a building permit, displayed it in my window, and worked on my home. I have since put a lot of work, time, and money into it, slowly raising its value. The city doesn't replace sidewalks, so I also replaced those as well as my walkway. I quickly became friends with the Ferrara brothers, who ran a clean and respectful business. They used this garage as a two-bay garage. I raised my son here as a single mom. I worked hard and I paid for my home. Sorry, I'm nervous. My son now resides on the second floor, what is known as Mr. Flanagan's office, and the back of the house was made into a small apartment which I rent to ARC for persons with disabilities. I have asthma and I have AV block type 2 with a pacemaker. With these issues, I have worked from home during COVID for the past few years and recently started transitioning back into the office a few days a week. With my health issues, toxic fumes can and will further damage my AV nodes. Back in August, the garage had a bay open door. I was outdoors working on my foundation when paint fumes began to fill the air. I quickly cleaned up and went out inside. I reported this to the city, however, auto body work did continue. In November, I came home to find debris on my back walkway and in my flower garden from a newly cut open hole in the building with pipes hanging out of it. 4 months later, on December 12th, I called 911 to report fumes coming from the building. This time it was bad, and I believe it was because of the open hole in the building. The fumes blanketed my backyard where I was winterizing, as well as seeped into my home and to the front of my home. I called 911 but declined an ambulance, and I let them know that my son and I were leaving the house because it was making me lightheaded and sick. As I was leaving, I saw neighbors that lived across the street who also smelled the fumes. I was sick for a few days with headaches and nausea. I sent follow-up emails to the city officials on December 29th, 7th, and on the 18th. On the 18th follow-up email, I requested to add my concerns and questions to the agenda for the 25th meeting because I still had no answers and was told to attend a council meeting. I voiced my disappointment in the email. Within this time, I also contacted DEC and DOH, who was also in contact with code enforcement. Please imagine being in your yard and this happening to you. Or imagine the anxiety and stress I feel. I did get some answers during the 25th meeting. It was stated that no signs of auto body was visible during the code appointment. There was some stored external material and that pipes were intake pipes that will be fixed. Body work was indeed being performed at 7-Star Auto Repair, and I feel it is important to accurately report this. There are neighbors that witnessed fumes and wish to remain anonymous, some that could not attend this meeting, and some that are in this room tonight. Is there anybody here? Can you raise your hand if you smelled those fumes coming from that garage?
Sherry,
Yes.
you need to direct the council. We'll have them come up and speak on their own.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So with this, I do have other things to address, such as the Chapter 272 45-day car limit, professional landscaping, egress, business expansion under R2 zoning, as well as parking and standing in alleys. And I would like to request a meeting with the board, a separate meeting.
Anything else?
That's it for now.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
My name is Akhtar Parvez. As we came last meeting, I have more proofs. I did send to Joe also. He sent me an email today after 1 year, 3 months, and 25 days to have a set up a meeting with the owner. And this is the building. Last time Joe said it's non-conforming structure. The non-conforming structure shall be maintained and shall not constitute a danger to health, safety, or general welfare of the public. So this is ongoing issue with the parking, neighbors smelling fumes. We have other neighbors who keep moving cars to 10th Avenue to 23rd. We have more people, they witness that one. And we just like to have a separate meeting, but we can resolve this one. And I'm just asking to have a separate meeting with the neighbors and with the board and council meeting. That's all I do.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else want to address the council? Okay. I think Joe was asked, Holly, did you have something you wanted to follow up on? I mean,
Without a doubt, it's emotional times. But for 42 years of my professional life, I was a health administrator. I know out of network, I know in network, I know billing. And I know it like I know the back of my hand. In fact, my master's thesis was actually on reimbursement mechanisms. This is not right. And I want to really be honest. It is not right. And I'm not sure who this gentleman is, and I apologize for not knowing your name. You can say you have to jump through a couple hoops. It's more than hoops. I would be more than willing to sit down with this insurance company, and maybe they can delineate for me what is a hoop. Maybe they can show me how I navigate the system. I've been down to the city. I talked to everyone. There's a lot of you sitting at this table that I've talked to, and I was told it was nothing but a scare tactic. This is not a scare tactic. And I don't know. I don't think we should involve ourselves with entities that think scare tactics are a good thing when we're involving 94-year-old good people. You know my mother. It's just not my mother. I know it's emotional for me, and I know I was told to sit down, but the thing is, we owe this generation something. We owe them. I am my mother's voice, and I'll always be my mother's advocate. This is not right, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll be more than happy. And if somebody wants to show me in the next 3 weeks how I should jump through a few hoops and how out of network or in network actually applies in this system, I'll be more than happy to sit and take notes and do it. I'll be more than happy. But I'm hoping someone here has the courage to make a change. I really and truthfully, we have a very small window of opportunity here. And I don't think, by a show of hands, how many people would want to lose their insurance. This is a self-pay plan. That's what this is. This is a self-pay plan. It's pay as you go along. That's just what it is. And as far as the comment about a couple hoops, I'm sorry. That's discouraging.
thank you, Holly. Is there anything else, anyone else? If nothing else, then I'll close the public hearing. Are you coming up?
Yes.
Oh, I've been asking for 5
I know, I
minutes.
was, sorry.
Okay, sorry.
My name is Ted Boyjat. I live on 1828 Ford Ave.
Can you spell the last name, please?
Sure. WOJTCZAK. Presents that, TAD.
Okay.
So you mentioned briefly about moving the traffic light from 6th Ave to 5th Ave. And you also just kind of vaguely mentioned alternating traffic on 4th Ave. Can you like elaborate on that?
We did elaborate on it at the last council meeting. We had a presentation, and that presentation was also placed online as a video. But yes, we did do that. And
I tried to watch some videos, but maybe I just kind of missed it. But
yeah, it's okay. Yeah, but we did make that presentation, and that's why I published it, so that people would be aware of it, so that you weren't surprised by waking up one morning and saying what happened.
Well,
So
yeah.
that's what we're looking for.
Okay, can you like in 5 seconds just say something? I mean, what's going to happen to 4th Ave?
Honestly, we can't answer any questions right now on it because we actually met with some stakeholders, which were abutting property owners, and we're redesigning it at this point. So even if I said what we talked about last week, it's going to change.
So you redesign 4th Ave?
We will have another meeting. It will be posted, and certainly if you want to call my office, we could, I'll let you know when that meeting might be.
So people who live on 4th Ave basically have nothing to say about...
There will be a public meeting that will post it, and then people can come and talk at that time.
Okay, and thank you.
Okay.
One more thing pertaining to the garbage. Thank you so much because you guys doing one hell of a job. And I have a light by my house. It's the best thing that ever happened there. It used to be a light bulb from like my days, 1973. Now it's nice and bright. So thanks to the department. But back to the garbage, which is, I live like second house from Dunkin' Donut. That alley is a total shame to go out, even for me to take my garbage out. People, now there is a law, right, that the night before the garbage can's supposed to go out, and then it's supposed to be retrieved after garbage is, after garbage was picked up, right? So certain households just leave the garbage cans right there from week to week to week. When the garbage trucks come and those people work really hard, weather, whatnot, when they leave their garbage cans because they got to move on to the next property, those garbage cans, whether it's a wind or what, they kind of laying by my fence. People from next door property, which is 1832 Fort Ave, never retrieve their garbage cans regardless into the yard or whatever the rule is. Those garbage cans sitting pretty much by my fence. I gotta go cut grass, I gotta move those garbage cans. In the wintertime, obviously I'm not cutting grass, but those garbage cans sitting pretty much on my property. A few times I receive a picture of my fence and garbage cans. None of those garbage cans belong to me. There's 4 of them from the next door property. I should not be, send pictures. Now, also, across from the alley, it's the Black Bear garbage. They putting their garbage out. Those boxes are stacked 10, 20 feet high, 15 feet high. As the wind comes and knocks those garbage boxes, they go right down the alley. I'm the one who's raking them, trying to put the damn things away. Well, I don't think I should be responsible because I'm a responsible person, so I'm cleaning it. Dunkin' Donuts situation, the same thing. As people go through Dunkin' Donut, they drive this way, they drive to the 19th Street. The paper napkins, the cups, whether they're on the street, they're in the alley, they go into people's yards. As an owner, yes, I want to keep my property kind of decent, but every day there are napkins and cups and whatnot, So, okay, that's all I have as far as venting.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilor.
All right. Thank you very much.
If you have any questions, then please ask.
I will.
Or anyone.
Anybody else? Going once? Okay. All right, then I'll close the public comment period. Is there anything else to be brought from the council? Nothing? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Let's second motion.
Motion made in second, call roll.
Councilman Billis? Favor. Councilwoman Diamond?
Favor?
Mayor Patricelli?
In favor. Thank you, everyone. The next meeting is
March 7th.
March 7th. Thank you.